Good afternoon, class.
Good afternoon.
Today we're going to start our unit, that is food quality assurance. Our topic is food spoilage. I'll start by asking class, have you ever seen a spoiled food in your home?
Yes.
Class,
Yes.
nani ashaiona chakula imeharibika kwake? A spoiled food. How do you know that your food is spoiled?
It has a red-like movement.
Hey, you see the red-like movement on top. What else? Yes, Kezia?
Molds.
Molds. Yes, you can see a greenish substance appearing on the surface. What else? Another person, class. How do you know your food is spoiled?
Smell.
Yes, maybe a bad smell. Yes, that is how we know that our food is spoiled. The key objectives of our topic today is identify causes of food spoilage, what causes food to spoil, explain different food preservation methods. How do we preserve our food to avoid it from spoilage? Suggest suitable preservation methods for specific food. Every food has a specific preservation method that suits it better. You cannot store bread in a fridge. Am I right?
Yes.
Yes, we cannot store bread in a fridge. So we have a specific preservation method for every food. We have food spoilage. One is the definition of food spoilage. You define what is spoilage. You define what is spoilage. Can someone try? What is spoilage? How can we define spoilage? Yes,
Spoilage is the deterioration of food caused by either microorganism, microbial growth, or physical.
Yes, and you can also add a chemical spoilage in food. When food spoils, it will cause harmful effect to the consumer. Second, when food is spoiled, it's an economic loss. Because when now your food is spoiled, you have to throw it away. We have three main causes of food spoilage. Of food spoilage. Food can be spoiled in three different ways, which we have the microbial, food spoilage, microbial. Second, we have the physical. And then we have the chemical food spoilage. When I say about the microbial food spoilage, when food is spoiled by microorganisms, one, we have microorganisms like yeast, we have molds, we have specific foods that attract different microorganisms when spoiling. Like bread, when we talk of bread, when you see a bread-like appearance in bread, when you see that greenish appearance in bread, you can simply tell which microorganism is that. Which would be in bread?
Mold.
Yes, in bread most probably will be molds. Yes. When we go to something like milk, when you want to know that when you can see a milk is spoiled, you can look at it and tell the milk is spoiled. You can see it's either coagulating, it is producing a very foul smell. You can tell our food is spoiled. Those are the microbial spoilages. When we look at the physical spoilage of food, we have something like some vegetable losing its moisture content. Yes, you can tell it from physical. When you observe it like a banana losing its freshness, you can tell it from appearance that this food is spoiling. Are we together, class?
Yes.
Then we have the chemical spoilage. When it comes to chemical spoilage, this is when now we have the chemical reactions happening in our food. You can look at an apple, which is browning. a fresh cut apple inakaaje?
White.
Yes, it looks white on the surface, but when you give it some time after oxygen reacting, it now starts appearing
Brown.
brown. Yes, that is a way of spoilage that is the chemical spoilage in our foods. I'll give you these charts. I want you to observe the picture. When you observe the picture, tell me, what are you seeing? Observe the picture in pairs. Observe the picture in pairs. Tell me the kind of food you're seeing. Tell me the kind of food you're seeing and the spoilage that is appearing in those foods. In 1 minute, just look at it. Just look at it. See how it is appearing. Is your 1 minute done? Okay, Velma, can you tell me from the picture, what can you see?
Here we are seeing a moldy bread.
Yes.
Bread that has molds.
How do you tell bread has mold?
Because it has we identify a whole bread when it is of one specific color, maybe white or brown. But in this case, we are seeing some growth of grayish that we think are molds.
Yes. That is, Velma is seeing a bread which has appearance of spotty, blackish or greenish spots, which she thinks is molds. Okay? Mweni, from your picture, what can you see?
We can see freshly cut apples.
When he's seeing first a freshly cut apple, why do you define it as freshly cut? Why do you see it is fresh and not?
Because it is red in color.
Here on the surface, and the cut surface appears.
And
Yes, the cut surface appears white. And the second picture is here. What can you see?
I can see an apple, both cut.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is like it's spoiled.
Why do you tell it's spoiled?
Because it has the brownish color.
Okay, good class. Kezia is seeing a cut apple which has a brown surface, and she thinks it's a spoiled apple, which is true. When apple is cut and you expose it to air, there is high probability of it being an oxidation process occurring and producing the browning effect on the surface. When you put a bread for so long, you expose it to moisture, you give the microorganisms the chances of growing on that surface and making the molds multiply. That's why our bread appears green and maybe with a dry crumb on the surface. I want us class to have a brainstorming session where I want you to think of specific preservation method for foods. We have different foods. We have the liquid foods, we have the fruits and vegetables, we have processed and unprocessed foods. So when you come to preservation of specific foods like vegetables, preservation, we have preservation of foods. Like fruits and vegetables. Can I know, for the fruits and vegetables, can we give a suggestion? How can we preserve our fruits and vegetables to enable them to stay for longer and then look fresh for the longest time? Audrey, can you give me a food preservation method for fruits and vegetables? Generally.
By using chilled temperature.
Yes, chilled temperatures. So this is low temperature treatment. That is like chilling. We have freezing. Yes. When it comes to meat products, Monica, what is the general preservation method for meat products?
Chilling as well.
Yes, chilling. We can do chilling. The traditional method we all know.
Drying.
Yes, we can do the dry.
Salty.
You can add the salty. Also have canning. Yes,
Yes.
we have canning. When you go to milk products, preservation for milk products, refrigeration. We have a heat treatment, yes, where we have a high
temperature short
hell,
time.
yes. We have the heat treatment methods for the milk products. We also have something like fermentation, yes, fermentation. Can someone tell us how is fermentation a preservation method? How is fermentation a preservation method, Selin? Yes, Monica, preservation is a fermentation.
Just a trial.
Mhm.
When we consider something like milk, it has lactose, which is the sugar in it.
Mhm.
So the bacteria will act on it and break it down, and then it brings forth acidity,
Mhm.
and this acidity will prevent growth of spoilage bacteria.
Good. Ayo, when we say a fermentation is a preservation method. Fermentation means concentration of acids in food. When we concentrate the acids in milk, that now prevents some specific bacteria from growing, because now the environment will be toxic for them. It will have a bad toxic environment for bacteria to grow. Some bacteria, not all of them, some bacteria to grow in such environments. Class, we can have a recap and our objectives met. Can we identify when someone asks you, what are the causes of food spoilage? We can mention some. When someone asks you, what is the preservation method for food? And again, can you define specific preservation methods for specific foods? Yes?
Yes.
That is the end of our class. I want to take a roll call. I want us to know if all of you in class do I have a student called Mweni in?
Yes.
Okay, good. Mweni is in. Velma Siso?
Present mother.
Good. So our next class will be having a cut. Make sure you do your research, go through your notes, and have a recall to know how can you apply that knowledge at your home and industry. Is that okay? Have a nice day. Let's meet in next class.
Thank you.